So I've made a video a while back talking about anhedonia, the inability to feel anything in regards to anything. You don't really receive any sort of stimuli from most things. That is what anhedonia is, and a bit of time has passed since that video, and even then, I could feel that anhedonia was, evolving and progressing in me. And, this video, I just want to chat about it and maybe get some comments from you people. Maybe you are, suffering from the same symptoms as I am, because I now, folks, I can clearly see that in my case, anhedonia has almost reached, its conclusion. I still have what is now a handful of things that still get a reaction out of me that is positive. Most things, in my case, they don't affect me in any way, they don't influence me in any way, and they do not receive any kind of reaction from me. You see, when I finally had to admit it to myself that it was almost at its peak, was when I wasn't really feeling music anymore. You see, to me, music is a really special thing. Music can just do something to you. It can uplift you. Music can empower you. It can purify you. Music is just like a drug. Its effect, it's almost instantaneous. And for a couple of to me, music is one of the great things. To me, music is I can't go on without music. Like Nietzsche said, why would we live in a world without music, right? Something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but so music is one of my main things, right? But a couple of months ago, I've started to notice that music, all of the music that I used to love, doesn't matter what genre, a lot of the music that I used to love doesn't really inspire anything, any kind of reaction. And I was getting a bit anxious because of this. Because music has always been my one refuge, one of my saving graces, right? And ever since a couple of months ago, most of the music that I listen to, it's failing to get a reaction from me. It has no effect, no influence, and that is concerning. On occasion, there are exceptions when I get stirred, when I feel something, when I listen to music, whatever the type of music is. And, I was a bit perturbed by this because, I just love music so much. I really think it's one of the greatest things that humans ever invented. And, because music helped me for a long time. Music helped me a lot. In every way possible. Not only psychologically, but also in my creativity. So, being forced with the prospect that I might lose music, it was a bit scary, to tell you the truth. It is something to just meditate on, to just realize that one day that one thing that was yours, that one thing that you thought was just God, will not interest you in the future, right? And I think this will happen eventually. And even though I was scared a couple of months ago, I finally came over and accepted the truth, and I'm fine with it now. I'm okay with it, Music has helped me a lot. Music has done wonders for me, and if it is time to let go, then it will happen, and I won't be sad about it because music has done enough. I can't just keep on milking, taking advantage of music and listening, continuing to listen, even though it really doesn't have any effect on me, because I think that would be an offense to music. It would be an insult to music to listen to it, even though it really doesn't spark anything in me. It would be an offense, right? To see if people are experiencing this as I am, because this is how I would describe it. Okay, and listen, before you comment, I will have to make this distinction. I will have to stipulate this. This is not depression. This is not sadness. This is not a chemical imbalance. This is not serotonin and testosterone deficiency or calcium deficiency. It's none of that. It's not post-nut clarity. It's none of those. Okay, this is how I would describe it. It is, I don't feel anything in regards to everything. Of course, the caveat is that in few exceptions, I do feel certain glimmers here and there. I'm not just dead, completely dead on the inside. I'm not there yet, because that is the conclusion of Anhedonia. You're just numb on the inside, and I'm not fully there yet. But in regards to most things, I feel absolutely nothing. Okay, and that's not a bad thing, I would say. Okay, feeling nothing should not be taken in a negative light if you are responsible, because of course, when it comes to negative, what I should say, opposite emotions, people aren't responsible. So if they start to feel a certain type of way that's melancholic or a bit down, the people get a bit angsty. They get a bit, well, what am I gonna do? And they do dumb shit to uplift themselves. And I would say, don't do it. You have to be responsible. This is not the end of the world. It's fine to feel nothing, folks. And I think, I would have to say, this is the message of the video. Just because you're numb on the inside, just because you feel nothing, or are somewhere in the vicinity of not feeling nothing, you don't have to lose your mind. You don't have to go berserk. Okay, it's fine. Calm down. It happens. You're not alone. There have been worse cases than you. Okay, you're not alone in this. There's nothing wrong with you. There might be things that will help you. Maybe you're not a lost case. That's fine. Seek the help that you think is proper for you. But in my case, it's pretty much over. It's pretty much, set in stone, and, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, not feeling anything can be a release. Not feeling anything can be freedom. If you know how to use it, right? If you can see that it can be a benefit to you in terms of your peace and quiet, because this is really what I think what most people need. People need peace and quiet, and not feeling anything might be the way for you to attain it. Okay? But yeah, it seems like this is this is what this video is trying to do. I guess I'm trying to say is that if maybe you suspect that you're going through something like this, if you're a younger person or an older person than me, if you have suspicions that maybe something like this is beginning to awaken in you, if you suspect that maybe you're starting to get a little bit numb on the inside, okay, I guess I'm trying to tell you people that you should not despair. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of your life. It's not the end of anything. You have to embrace it, I would say, because I have embraced it for a long time. Okay, and my life hasn't changed. Okay, my life hasn't gone downward. Okay, only up. If you know how to use it. Okay, but of course, if you are a sociable, extroverted person who has to be around people, because I've known individuals who just can't be by themselves and they can't be alone because they lose their shit. Okay, if you are one of those people and you feel like maybe you're starting to, I don't know, how do you describe this sensation? Like you feel gray. Okay, you feel gray on the inside, then maybe you should seek help. Maybe it will help you. Maybe, if that is what you want. I think if you seek help and if you want to, feel things, then I would say that maybe you will recover. But of course, in my case, the fact that I have no problem with feeling absolutely nothing means that I do not need help. Because to me, this is not a disease or a disadvantage or it's not a impediment. Feeling nothing to me is not an impediment because I've been like this for a lot of years, and now it is slowly maturing to its climax, and really my life has not been impeded at all. Okay, so to me, this is not a problem. This is just another thing that I accept, and then I move on with my life. And I guess if you're scared, this is my advice to you. If you see it as just being something natural that occasionally happens to people, then I think you'll be fine. If, on the other hand, you see it as a troubling thing that scares you deeply and affects you deeply, then you're gonna have a hard time. It won't be easy. You're gonna have a lot of doubts. You're gonna be extremely anxious. Okay, you're gonna be extremely anxious and you're gonna have a lot of sleepless nights. How do you think I got all of these bags under my eyes, right? But again, because this this distinction has to be met, because the moment, if you talk to normies and NPCs, if you even mention this subject, they will assume that this is depression, you're a sad boy, there's something wrong chemically with you or biologically, whatever. Maybe you suffered a breakup. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you're just sad in general. Maybe this is the beginning of mental illness. Okay, this is what the average person assumes when you discuss this subject. Now, of course, there are cases when this is actually valid, that mental illness does play a factor in certain individuals. But to me, see, I have analyzed this, and listen, I know exactly what depression is, and I know exactly what mental illness is, and I know emotional problems. I know all of this, folks. And this Anhedonia is none of those. None of those, okay? This is something else, okay? This is something else entirely. This is a different beast. And unless you are experiencing it directly, you have absolutely no idea what we're talking about. If you have not experienced this, you have absolutely no idea what we're talking about. Because listen, I've noticed most people don't even know what depression really is. They have absolutely no clue. So most people do not have the right to label you as being emotionally or mentally impaired or depressed. You're a sad boy. It isn't so. Anhedonia is entirely it's on a different level. It's on a different level than depression. With depression, despite the stereotypes, with depression, usually the one who suffers from depression actually feels and experiences a whole barrage of different emotions. I know you think that depression is just being sad. It isn't so. Depression is a mixture of, yes, sadness, of brooding, anxiety, nervousness, fatigue, and a whole lot, a whirlwind of anxiety. When I had depression, even though I looked calm and collected, on the inside, I was a storm. I was a storm of rage and just despair and all of those things. Anhedonia, folks. Anhedonia isn't depression. It's just being empty on the inside. Purely empty, hollow. Okay, this is what anhedonia is. Absolutely hollow. Nothingness, emptiness. There is nothing going on, right? It's an echo. You tap on it and it's an echo. Like it's an empty hull. Okay? So we have to make that distinction. Okay? And I would have to say, yet again, if you are going through this, don't lose your mind. Don't go insane and just become this, oh boy, what am I gonna do? It's over. I'm fucked. I'm handicapped or crippled. It isn't so. My view is that people can take a lot. Okay? People can take a lot if they have the right mindset. If you view it as a handicap, you're gonna have a bad life, boy. But if you approach it as I have, you see, I have been familiar with this nothingness for at least half my life. So I'm familiar with it. I'm acquainted with it. Doesn't bother me. I've accepted it. I've embraced it. And it's just another part of me. And I would have to say that feeling nothing can be a plus. Okay, if you, for example, had a teenage, your teenage years, if they were extremely emotional and you just couldn't control yourself and you had anxiety, like I had, now that you've reached this point, the solar opposite, which is absolutely nothing, it can be a relief. Let me tell you, after being anxious and jittery and oh boy, like this for so many years, just feeling nothing is just such a release, man. Okay. But yeah, like everything else in life, it has its consequences, folks. Listen, everything in life has a consequence, okay? The price for living is death. The price for having a good health is that one day you will get sick and die, right? The price for being young and fresh and healthy is that one day you'll get old and you won't be so fresh, etc., right? So the consequence of anhedonia is that all of the things that you once enjoyed will not entice you anymore. So that is the That is the major consequence of this, right? To me, it was music. To me, listen, up until a couple of months ago, I never once even conceived of the fact that music will not be a part of my life. If you told me that, I would just laugh in your face. But now I've accepted that this might be a possibility, and it's fine, okay? It's fine. See, I had good moments with music. Whatever your favorite thing might be, if you are scared to lose it, you gotta have to work through it in your own way, okay? And you have to accept the fact, like I said, that consequences are real. And even though you will not admit it, that doesn't mean that it will negate the consequences. Consequences are permanent. You cannot push away consequences, okay? For example, let's just say that you love having a lot of sexual partners in your life because you just love the feeling and every day you have to do it. Well, there will come a certain time at a certain age when you will wake up and your body will be limp as fuck and you will not be able to do anything anymore. That is the consequence of being let's call it a prolific lover. Your body will just turn to jelly one day and you won't be able to do it. This is the price that you will have to pay. Okay? If you, let's just say, if you enjoy stimulating yourself with chemical drugs, for example, and if you take them every day, you will feel amazing for a lot of years. But one day when you're older, your body will just say, fuck that, and it will collapse on itself because it will not be able to take the strain. That is the price that you will have to pay one day. The consequences. See, we all have to be responsible adults here and see things for what they really are. We have to be accountable. Okay, we can't just be little babies and, oh boy, there will come a time in your life when all of the things that you love will go away. And even worse still, there might come a time in your life you won't lose the things you love. The things you love will be around you. They will be with you, and you will feel nothing. It will be like all of the things that you loved died, but they're still there, but you feel nothing towards them. Okay, this is the consequence. This is the price that we have to pay. And of course, I have to put this in because I know somebody will comment, this is not as being, sociopath or a psychopath in terms of, I do not have the ability to distinguish between right or wrong, or because I don't feel things, that doesn't mean that I don't understand, that it does not imply that I don't have a conscience, because people think if you do not feel anything, therefore you're capable of horrific shit. It isn't the case. Okay, this has to be said because people are extremely ignorant. Okay, so this has to be said again and again until they understand what's going on here, you see. Maybe this video will help you spot the symptoms in yourself or in one of your loved ones, okay? And all of this has to be taken, calmly. Calmly. This isn't the end of the world. There are some people, for whatever reason, there is a multiplicity, a plethora of factors and ingredients that can lead a person to become, numb, completely numb on the inside, genetics and everything, even experiences in life, you see. To me, I think in my case, it was a combination of both, where it also was genetics, because I can clearly detect, melancholy and a sort of sadness in my family, line, but also because of certain events in my life, certain life experiences, it made me a bit dull. It made me a bit blunted on the inside. So this was the perfect combination for anhedonia to become a thing. And in my case, I simply accept it, and it doesn't bother me at all. So, uh, um, if you know, and I don't want anybody to assume that, oh boy, what will happen when nothing will be able to affect me? What will happen when I just don't feel anything towards anything? Because I guess that the mental gymnastics is, well, I don't feel anything. I'm empty on the inside. Nothing is seductive to me. I don't care about anything. I guess I'll just commit suicide. This isn't the case. It might happen, but it is what it is. I have a few things that still interest me, that still make me passionate. But I think I know myself well enough where I can say clearly that if nothing will interest me in the future, and if I will have absolutely no passion for nothing, I'll just be a lazy bum and chillax. And if certain people wanna check out of this world, that's their right to do. So, it all depends. It all depends how you view it, how you, rationalize it. If you take it in a negative light, you're gonna suffer. If you see it differently, maybe in a positive light, like I do, because I can see it being beneficial to me, then I think you will have, an easier experience with anhedonia. Because, okay, listen, some people might mistake anhedonia to being lazy, to being bored, not being motivated, having no passion, having no goals, not being a go-getter. Let me tell you, it isn't the case. Anhedonia is simply, you simply do not care anymore about anything. Okay, it's not about having motivation. It's not about being lazy or bored. The things that you once thought that matter no more. This is what it is, okay? Because listen, and this is the title of this video, I used to love a lot of things, okay? Listen to me. Maybe this will strike a nerve with you. But when I was way younger, okay, I used to love a lot of things. Oh man, I used to be in love with so many things. I used to be so active. I used to do so many things, and I used to try everything. Man, I was so active, okay? Even though I was bad at certain things, I wasn't particularly good at drawing. But I just loved art, and I just loved the feeling of drawing. I could feel something happening in my brain, and it was just so phenomenal. But I was still bad at it. After years and years of drawing every day, I barely improved. It was a sad thing, but I loved it. And I don't draw anymore. Not really. Maybe once a year, a sketch, maybe. I used to love a lot of things. I used to love so many sports, even though I wasn't good at some of them. I was kind of good at some of them, but I used to love a lot of things, right? I was always outside. I was always doing things. I was always active, always. I used to love a lot of things. And this is truly a sad thing when you remember just how you were when you were younger, that just, let's call it an instinct or a reflex to just try whatever, and you didn't care of the consequences. You didn't care that maybe you sucked at it. You just wanted to try it, and you tried it with confidence. And even if you failed, you weren't embarrassed at all, right? Uh, you know, I used to, man, I used to love a lot of things, folks. I used to love a lot of things. Things that kept me up at night. Things that just haunted me like demons. Things that wouldn't let me sleep. And people too. I used to love a lot of people too. Not anymore though. And little by little, year by year, those things went away because slowly but surely I just divorced them. I let them go because they became less significant. They did not spark something in me like before. Man, I used to watch everything every single day. I used to watch movies, TV shows, anime, cartoons. I used to read a lot of manga and comics. Like, I was just so in it. Like, in a frenzy, a fever, right? I just wanted to see more, to learn more, to find out more, to experience more, to always have some sort of, imaginative high, if you wanted, some sort of thrill, and it all went away slowly, and it never recovered. You see, now I watch something very rarely, maybe a movie or a TV show, a handful a year maybe, and that's too much for me, right? I don't, and even the old ones that are classics, that are so full of quality, like they don't produce the same kind of wow reaction that in me that used to spark when I was way younger, right? When I was younger and I watched a really good show or movie or whatever, I was mesmerized. I was fascinated. I was just completely immersed in that one thing, and not anymore. Even my favorites. So I used a long time ago, folks. Like you, maybe, listen, maybe you are like me, maybe you are in my position, or maybe you are even more far gone than I am, which means that you have attained peak anhedonia. You have reached perfection in terms of anhedonia, which is that you do not feel anything about anything. Okay? And that's fine. I used to love a lot of things, and they all slowly went away. And for a time I was sad. But it is what it is. Maybe you used to love a lot of things, maybe. You might still be in that crucial moment or situation where you still don't really know what to do. Should you accept it? Should you reject it? Should you fight against it? Because you don't want to let go of all of your darlings, whatever your passions might be. You feel like they should still matter to you, even though they don't, right? And this can be applied to friends, lovers, anything, whatever it is that you love. There will come a time when all of these things that you cherish will not produce any sort of reaction in you. Okay? I used to love a lot of things when I was younger. I used to be so involved, so passionate. And it's not because now I'm an embittered older sourpuss. It's not because I'm, maybe nihilistic. It's not because I'm lazy or I don't care or I'm bored or I just don't have any motivation. It's simply they do not matter to me because they do not produce any sort of reaction. They have no effect. And yes, it is a sad thing in of itself. It is, it is, um, it is, a monumental loss that should be mourned, that should be grieved in private, in silence. Because, listen, if you are too far gone, this is it. You have to accept the fact, undeniable, irrefutable, that what you once loved will never return, be it a person or whatever, a thing. It will never return to you. It will never affect you again. You cannot reverse it. You see, it cannot reverse it. Like a cancer that is in the last stage, it can't really be fought against. It cannot be pushed back. It will keep on devastating the system. Okay? And it is what it is, One day, you will wake up and you will feel hollow completely. And just like me, you will have days when you just wake up and there will be absolutely nothing that will motivate you to get out of bed, not even going to the bathroom. Because this is what happens with anhedonia, with emptiness, with nothingness, okay? And it is what it is, Because this is what I always say. Okay, this is what I always say, because we always bitch and moan and complain 24/7 about insignificant things. No matter what happens, it could have been much worse. It could have been much worse for us, and we would have been in a terrible situation. We can deal with this. Anhedonia isn't the end of the world. Maybe it will be for some people, but for others, it will not be. And each is responsible and tasked to deal with his or her own life on his or her own terms. Okay? But that's about it, Tell me in the comments if you are experiencing, this anhedonia like I am. Tell me in the comments if you feel nothing about anything, you see, because I'm almost there, and, tell me what your experience has been, but that's about it. If you enjoy this content, and if you want to support your boy, I have a few books on Amazon. The link will be down below. Thanks for watching. See ya.